preparations and a transition to the 20th Congress, the lower chamber gets a spokesperson and she is not a lawmaker.
And Beijing is watching, as expected, its Coast Guard challenges and shadows the third civilian mission of the Atin Ito coalition in the West Philippine Sea.
Basketball players.
Di ba matagal na ito pinagplanuhan nyo? Dapat along the way, agad yung rerouting or in-announce nyo na ito.
The MMDA is convinced, and only after 2 days, the no-contact apprehension policy, or NCAP, is yielding better disciplined motorists. However, even senators have reservations about the planned odd-even scheme on EDSA next month. Gerard de la Peña has tonight's big story.
It looked like there was a motorcade along Commonwealth Avenue in Quezon City on Tuesday morning. No one was swerving, and even if traffic slow, drivers stayed on their lanes, especially the motorcycle riders. Even cars did not dare cross the lane that was intended for motorcycles. Motorists are more cautious than ever. That's because disregarding traffic signs comes with a 1,000 peso fine. Now that a no-contact apprehension policy is back, at least along EDSA, a mere CCTV footage could hold you liable. On day 1 of NCAP's implementation on May 26, the MMDA recorded more than 1,000 traffic violators. But no letters have been sent to violators yet because all information had to undergo manual verification.
Pag na-validate, dadaan na naman po siya sa another approval, isang supervisor to see kung tama ang citation na nilagay and corresponding penalty. After that, tsaka lang po pipirmahan at ipapadala yung notice of violation.
The MMDA is also planning to procure additional cameras with artificial intelligence capability for the NCAP.
Para po mas malawak na yung range kasi there are still some areas na wala ho pang CCTV at hindi pa ma-monitor. So doon po namin i-augment yung mga traffic enforcers namin.
The NCAP, of course, is just one scheme in force ahead of the EDSA rehabilitation project. On May 27, transport officials discussed plans for the rebuild that kicks off June 13 with the Senate Committee on Public Services, Public Works and Finance. Committee head Rafi Tulfo's main concern was the absence of alternate routes from the MMDA with only weeks to go before the major makeover.
Di ba matagal na ito pinagplanuhan nyo itong rehabilitation sa EDSA? Dapat along the way na pinagpaplanuhan nyo na ito, agad-agad pinagplanuhan nyo na rin yung rerouting.
Meron naman
at agad-agad para weeks before, in-announce nyo na ito na yung mga kalsada. I want it now.
The MMDA says there are already alternate routes, like the predetermined Babuhay lanes. In fact, they already conducted clearing operations in these areas earlier, an activity the MMDA vows to do every day. As for additional alternate routes, the MMDA is still finalizing those. The Department of Transportation promised to help the MMDA speed up the process.
I think ang gagawin na lang po ng, namin, together with MMDA, is we will show the routes very clearly in both map form, kamukha po nung nasa kamay nyo, at i-detalye yung turn by turn, kumbaga sa Waze, turn by turn na direction para dadaanan ng mga kababayan natin. At ito po ibibigay sa media at the latest by tomorrow.
And while EDSA is being fixed, the odd-even scheme will be implemented, but only on the major thoroughfare. All other roads will still implement the number coding scheme. Dry run for the odd even starts June 16, and for 1 whole month, there will be no apprehensions. Exempted from the scheme are electric and hybrid vehicles, motorcycles, non-motorized vehicles, emergency vehicles, buses, jeepneys, taxis, transport network vehicles, and marked government vehicles with official plates.
Kung yan po ay may mapatunayan na epektibo, meaning napababa po talaga significantly ang number of vehicles, no, sa EDSA, yan na po ay pag-uusapan ng ituloy-tuloy, no. Pero kung yan po ay makita na medyo either hindi effective or kaunti lang ang naging epekto, i-rethink po yan.
The odd-even scheme will be in effect 24/7, something Senator J.V. Ejercito said would be too much for both motorists and commuters.
Baka masyado mahirap na yung 24 hours. We have to adjust from time to time. Tignan muna kung okay muna yung 13 hours. Pag kulang, tsaka na sabihin yung 24 hours.
Meanwhile, the DOTR announced that Skyway Stage 3 operator San Miguel Corporation has agreed to waive the toll for some segments during EDSA's rebuild. Metro Pacific Tollways Corporation is following suit. The MPTC operates the 8-kilometer NLEX connector traversing Caloocan City to Santa Mesa, Manila.
San Miguel would offer Stage 3 of Skyway in a free. I think we also have a connector. Maybe we should do the same thing. I have to talk to our tollways. I think San Miguel has taken the lead there, and it was a good lead that they've done, and I think we should follow.
For News 5, Gerard de la Peña, we are One News.
There's lots of confusion still when it comes to the EDSA rebuild and the schemes enforced ahead of it, like the NCAP and odd-even scheme. Now, we hope to get some enlightenment from our guest tonight, the transportation chief himself, Vince Dizon. Welcome back to the Big Story, Mr. Secretary. Kamusta ang traffic? We're assuming you're on the road.
Yeah, opo, I am actually. I'm on EDSA actually right now, southbound po no, on EDSA. And as usual po, siyempre yung traffic naman po hindi nawawala, ganun po talaga. Pero I think it underscores also no yung importance po ng desisyon ng ating Pangulo na once and for all, we need to rebuild EDSA for the better. No? And it's going to be hard while this is happening. Pero ang utos naman po ng Pangulo, maghanap po tayo ng mga iba't ibang paraan para pagaanin yung epekto nito sa ating mga kababayan. So that's what we're trying to do. We initially, together with MMDA and DPWH, proposed 5 initial interventions. DOTR proposed 3 of them, MMDA proposed 2. But we will continuously look for more ways to make this easier as we proceed with the rebuild of EDSA.
All right, the 8.7 billion that will be spent for this rebuild I'm asking Secretary because sell it to us. Marami nang nagko-cold feet na talaga bang kailangan yan? Parang you'll just be paving the road and then putting asphalt overlay. What is the importance to the nation of this EDSA rebuild?
Well, tingin ko naman po, no, tayong halos lahat dito sa Metro Manila ay dumadaan ng EDSA kung di araw-araw, at least multiple times every week. No? At nakita naman po natin itong mga nakaraang taon, nakaraang dekada, kung paano po inaayos ang EDSA. Ang ginagawa po dito madalas nung nakaraan ay patsi-patsi, reblocking every weekend, every holiday. At nakita naman po natin na ang epekto nito. No? Nakita natin na baku-bako, nakita natin na madaling magbaha. Ako po mismo naglakad ng mahigit 5 kilometro along EDSA kahapon. At nakita ko din na talagang delikado at mahirap maglakad along EDSA. No? So I think all of these things are clear signs that we need to do something dramatic. And I think we have to give it to the President po that while this is a difficult decision to make because of all the hassle and the difficulties this is going to bring to motorists, he understands and he is bold enough to say that we need to do it and we need to do it now.
But exactly, that's the point, no? Let me piggyback lang on what Seth said. Marami kasi nagsasabi, baka isang bonggang reblocking. Kumbaga, hindi namin ma-visualize, Secretary, kung ano pa ba yung madadagdag sa EDSA. Will there be more stations for the bus carousel, which I believe you mentioned before. Magkakaroon ba ng improvement doon sa sidewalk? Lalaki ba siya? Liliit ba siya? Kukumpletuhin ba? Yeah, help us visualize the end, the light at the end of the tunnel.
Yes, thank you very much, Sean. No? And I think pinakita naman po ng DPWH yung how they visualize the EDSA to be after the rebuild. No? And it's really a very different EDSA than what we have now. First of all, aayusin lahat ng patsi-patsing ginawa na ng mga nakaraang dekada. Kumpletong asfalto na yan. So very, very smooth ride na. Mula Pasay hanggang monumento. Gagamitin po ng very high quality asphalt na sumisip-sip ng tubig katulad ng mga nakikita natin sa ibang bansa. Kaya mababawasan din ang incidence ng flooding, mamimitigate ang flooding. Doon naman po sa outer lane, definitely po, lalawakan at gagawing standardized na ang sidewalk para maprotektahan na ang ating mga naglalakad. Alam niyo po, nung pong naglakad ako kahapon, no, doon ko po talaga nakita kung gaano kadelikadong maglakad sa EDSA. No? Meron pong mga portions doon na halos naglalakad na po ang mga kababayan natin, naglalakad na po kami sa kalye na mismo kung saan dumadaan ang mga motor at mga sasakyan. At ang pinakamaganda din dyan is pati yung drainage po lalakihan at papalawakin, no, yung ilalim ng EDSA para makapag-absorb ng tubig ulan kapag lalo na panahon ng tag-ulan. Kaya pati ho yun, may iwasan ang pagbaha, no, o mababawasan ang pagbaha.
Mawawala ba yung mga poste? Ay, sorry, Sec. Mawawala ba yung mga poste sa sidewalk? Yung mga
sobrang... Iba yun, no? Yun po medyo mahirap pong gawin yun, no? Kasi in the first place, wala ka ng paglilipatan nun, Sean, no? At para ilagay mo sa ilalim yun, napakamahal nun. At ang kailangan gumawa nun ay yung ating mga public utility companies tulad ng Meralco, no? So hindi po kasama yon, no? Yung paglalagay sa ilalim ng ating mga electrical lines, no? But I think ang punto lang po ng gobyerno ngayon is matagal na pong pinaplano itong massive rebuild ng EDSA, ilang administrasyon na, pero wala po talagang naglakas ng loob na gawin eh. No? So tingin ko po, yun po ang pinapakita ng ating Pangulo, ng ating gobyerno ngayon na once and for all, ayusin na po natin. Ito po yung essence talaga nung Build Better More program ni Pangulong Bongbong Marcos.
Oh, sige, sir.
We just don't do patchwork, but we build better.
All right. On the odd-even scheme, this was proven not to have worked nung panahon ni FVR at the time, I believe, ni Secretary Orbos was your predecessor. Is this cast in stone? Pwede bang ma-adjust ito if it's proven na hindi naman nakatulong?
Well, ang sabi naman po, Seth, ng MMDA, no, sila po kasi ang nagpapatupad na nito, no, nitong traffic management proposal na ito, na ad-even. Ang sabi naman po ng MMDA very clearly, dry run po starting June 16. Ang ibig sabihin po ng dry run is papakiusapan po natin, hingi tayo ng kooperasyon sa ating mga kababayan para subukan kung ito'y epektibo o hindi. No? So wala po munang huli ito. Pero kailangan po matignan natin at mag-explore tayo ng iba't ibang paraan. Hindi naman pwedeng wala na lang tayong gagawin. No? So, pero naiintindihan naman po ng MMDA na hindi tayo nakakasiguro kung ito epektibo. Kaya susubukan lang po muna ito. Kung ito po'y mapakitang hindi naman nagbawas ng numero ng mga sasakyan, baka po i-re-rating po ito ng MMDA. Pero siguro po, payagan na lang po natin ang MMDA, intindihin natin na gusto nilang subukan ito.
Okay, but Secretary, itong EDSA rebuild, granted that it will solve the riding quality problem along EDSA, what about traffic? Kasi baka hindi rin naman maramdaman ng mga tao yung improvements on the road if napakabagal pa rin ng takbo ng mga kotse. I mean, you're running 20 to 40 kilometers per hour, you won't really feel the improvements in the riding quality. So the question is, will the EDSA rebuild project solve traffic?
Yeah, Sean, I think we all know that rebuilding a road is not going to solve traffic. No, what's going to solve traffic is mass transportation eventually. But we still need to fix our roads, Sean. No, we're not saying, we never said that the EDSA rebuild will solve traffic and will magically remove traffic from EDSA. That's not what we're saying. No, and because that's just not true. What will solve traffic is when we finish the subway, when we finish all the other mass transport systems, when we further develop the busway carousel into a proper BRT system, those are the things that are going to alleviate and eventually solve traffic. But we do have to fix our roads, especially our main boulevards in our capital metropolis, itong EDSA.
Okay, but Secretary, this is Pauline, by the way, no? Well, you were talking about public transportation already. I wanted to ask about the China-made Dalian trains. They were procured by the government over a decade ago. Will they finally be used as an intervention while the EDSA rebuild project is ongoing?
I don't think we can use them just yet. We are pushing our maintenance operator, Sumitomo of Japan, to fast-track the fixing of the Dalian trains so that they can be safely used by the commuting public. And the key word there, Puin, is safe. No? We are not going to compromise the safety of our commuters by using trains that have not yet been cleared by our maintenance operator. But we are working very hard. Sabi ko nga, 10 years na yan. These were procured during the Pinoy administration. But unfortunately, they have not been cleared by the operator of MRT3. No? But there are ways forward. We are pushing our Japanese maintenance operator to put in the interventions necessary as fast as possible. But I can't give you a timeline on that yet.
Okay.
So no
Unfortunately.
extra trains as of yet.
No, sorry. No Dalian trains. But there are extra trains, but we will try our best to add as many as we can. We already added 2 train sets of 4 each, no? Just the past 2 months. From 18, we are now up to 20. We want to add about 3 to 5 more trains in the coming months. But again, we need to make sure these trains are safe for our commuters.
Okay. Secretary, I'm borrowing this question from social media because I want to know also, bakit ngayon lang, kung pwede palang dagdagan ng mga bagon, why are we only doing this now? Can you explain like the process of, were there studies that had to be done? Procurement took forever? What? Yeah.
Sean, that's a good question. And I cannot speak for my predecessors, Sean, and I'd rather not. No? The point is, when we came in, we pushed the management of MRT3 and our partners, and we were able to add 2 train sets.
Dahil ngayon lang
of 4
dumating
each.
si Vince Dizon.
No, hindi naman po, ma'am. Hindi naman po ganon. But I think I really cannot speak to the past. What I want to focus on is trying to alleviate, based on the instructions of the president, the present commuting problems of the people who need these public transport facilities now, especially with the EDSA rebuild.
All right, let's move to the buses. Ilan pong buses ang madadagdagan?
Okay. For the buses po, when we came in po, there were 350 buses on the busway. We've added 50 already since then. The plan is to add up to 100 to 150 more buses. No, but we need to do these in phases. So we will be adding another 50, I think, by the beginning of June. So that's next week or in 2 weeks. And then we will keep on adding until we hit the, right now, the maximum capacity that we feel the busway can accommodate, especially with the rebuild of roughly about 550 buses. So right now we are at 400. We aim to add 150 more para umabot po tayo ng 550.
Okay, Secretary, balik tayo dun sa problem. I know that the MMDA is largely the one like conjuring up the traffic scheme and the alleviation scheme. Yeah, but were there studies done? Were there data that guided these decisions? Would you know kung pinagbasehan to sa mga, I don't know, like, because all we know is that JICA study of how much traffic costs us, which is over $1 billion a day, right?
Yes.
Apart from that, we don't, yeah.
Opo, ang sabi po ng MMDA ni Chairman Don, pinag-aralan po nila ito, no? At sa pag-aaral nila, itong halimbawa, itong odd-even scheme, no? Makakapag-reduce ng up to 40%, no? But again, I think we have to also give it to Chairman Don that even if sinasabi nila may datos sila, gusto pa rin nilang i-dry run muna kung tingnan talaga kung sa totoong implementation magiging epektibo ito. Pero dala na rin nito ng pagtutulak ng ating Pangulo sa aming lahat na mag-isip ng mga paraan para kahit paano maibsan naman tong mabigat na traffic na padating dahil nga talagang i-rebuild na itong EDSA.
Okay. Earlier, we've been over yesterday and today, we've been getting a lot of updates also on the odd-even scheme, kung exempted ba talaga yung mga hybrid at EV kasi marami nang gustong bumili. Earlier today, Chairman Artes said na pag-iisipan ulit yung exemption ng hybrid and EV because 17,000 daw ang naka-register ng mga ganong vehicles in Metro Manila alone. Can you give us more details on that?
Is it 17 or 70?
Actually po, I would rather have Chairman Artes discuss the details of the dry run for odd even. Like I said po, no, I mean, it's really a dry run. We want to try it out and see if it's really effective. If it's not, then it's not worth doing. If it is, then maybe it is worth doing and it will help alleviate the traffic on EDSA.
Okay.
So pwedeng
But
mas-scrap?
what we have done po sa... Sorry.
Pwede siyang mas-scrap in like a week?
Well, depende po sa resulta ng dry run. No? Yun naman po ang sinabi ng MMDA kahapon.
Okay.
But on the part of DOTR naman po, I mean, kami po, 3 po yung aming pinropose at ginagawa na po namin ito ngayon, yung paglilibre ng Skyway Stage 3. At narinig ko po, nagpapasalamat po tayo sa leadership ni Mr. Manny Pangilinan din ng MPTC. Narinig ko po sa news report ninyo na pati po ang parte ng NREX-SREX connector ay pwede ding ilibre. We will follow up on that with Metro Pacific. And then yung pagdagdag po ng tren at pagdagdag din po ng buses sa busway. Yun po, tuloy-tuloy na po kami doon at tingin namin magagawa po namin yung tatlong yun.
Buong Skyway ba, Secretary, ay libre na? Because last time we spoke, you were just about to
hindi po.
pitch it. Oo. Sige, let's
Hindi
clarify
po.
for everyone.
Baka
Yes,
pumunta
it's
ka
just
ng
a
Baguio.
segment. Hindi naman po. Hindi naman po hanggang Alabang, no? Hindi naman po. So, I think it's just a segment that will be used as an alternative route to EDSA. So, pag-uusapan pa po namin ng detalye with San Miguel kung saan pwedeng dumaan ng libre at kung saan pwedeng umexit ng libre. So, in the next few days po, yan po ang ginagawa ngayon ng DOTR at ng San Miguel Corporation. At ngayon, pati na rin po ang Metro Pacific Corporation ay kakausapin na rin po namin.
And you promised kanina kay Senator Raffy na magkakaroon ng mga mapa. You know, we in the media would really like to help you disseminate the information.
Opo.
And we're just
Opo.
waiting for all these details para po malaman ng publiko. At kami na rin,
Tama
syempre.
po. Opo, tayong lahat po, tayong lahat. Ma'am Ses, nagsabi naman po ang MMDA na mag-ilalabas na nila yung mga mapa ng mga alternative routes, both northbound and southbound. No? I think na-post na nila ito sa kanilang website. I just wanna check to be sure. Pero ang sabi din po ni Chairman doon ay i-disseminate po yan sa ating media outlets para po malaman ng ating mga kababayan. And alam ko magagagay din po sila ng mga signages along the alternate routes.
Secretary, on the part of DOTR, are you also looking at extending operating hours of trains and buses, lalo na po sa gabi?
Yung buses po, walang problema. Tuloy-tuloy po yan, 24/7. Yun lang pong MRT3 ay kami po ay sa kasalukuyan pang nakikipag-usap sa ating maintenance operator dahil nag-extend na po kasi tayo ng 1 oras, no, dati. Kanina lang po, I had a discussion with them. Tumatawad po ako kung pwedeng mag-extend ng 30 minutes earlier sa umaga. Pero pinag-aaralan po pong mabuti kasi nga po ayaw naman natin i-kompromiso yung oras na kailangan ng ating operator para mag-maintain araw-araw. No? Kasi it's really, you know, it's safety above all else. No? So, but we're trying our best. No? We're trying our best and racking all our brains to find solutions to alleviate all, the problems that this rebuild will bring.
Sec, very quickly, kailan ba yung target start talaga? We understand mid-June yung dry run, pero does that mean mga July magsa-start yung works, yung actual works?
Okay. Ang sabi po ng DPWH, no, sila po kasi ang mag-i-implement nito, no? June 13, mag-uumpisa na daw silang mag-mobilize ng June 13 ng gabi. Pero yung pag-mobilize, yan pa rin yung pagdating ng mga tao, yung mga equipment. Pero yung actual construction, syempre that will take several weeks before it actually happens. No? So, ano po, no? I'd rather defer to DPWH to give a more definitive schedule on the construction.
Okay, fair enough.
All right. Thank you very much for talking to us again, Transportation Secretary.
Always po. Thank you very much for having me and thank you for helping us disseminate all the information about this very, very important project that will affect everyone in Metro Manila.
Okay, that was Transportation Secretary Vince Dizon on the road.
Right, we're just going to take a quick break, but coming up, we're taking note of movements at the House of Representatives as it gets a spokesperson, while the supermajority talks alliance with the traditional opposition. We have the details of that when the big story returns. Keep it here.
Hindi lang siya word for word.
We did.
Tapos sinagot na niya kasi, di ba, yung mga iba pang stuff.
Yeah.
Pero ito, alam ko kasi hindi niya masasagot yan. Kasi ka-artist dapat yan.
Pati itong uneven.
Oo, kaya nga parang, I think by now medyo mas may handle na ako of ano ba yung magyayari. Pwedeng tumawid, bawal tumahak, di ba?
What's tumahak?
Like, go on it. On, what's tumahak in English?
Just passing by the road.
Oh, yeah, there. Passing like,
okay.
as in on, sticking on the road.
You mean passing a portion of EDSA?
Yeah, if you cross it, pwede ka tumawid. Yeah. Like Pito Azon
So,
or,
kumari,
di ba
what
ba pwede?
if you're in
Hertin.
Straw Boulevard and then you need to go to Mega Mall?
Si Arles.
Oo, pwede. Pwede ka mag-cross. Kasi yun yung first eh. Grabe!
Yeah, yun
Does
yung
that mean
tanong
bawal to?
kanina eh.
Oo. Tanong ng pati mommy tsaka daddy ko kagabi. Ang
The big story is back with lawyer Princess Abante, now spokesperson of the House of Representatives. She is the first non-lawmaker to hold the post since EDSA 1986. Abante says her role covers both the 19th and 20th Congresses. She is the daughter of outgoing Manila Representative Benny Abante. But more than that, the lawyer recently went viral for her strongly worded tirade against Vice President Sara Duterte. In a rally before the elections, Attorney Abante defended her father from the VP's supposed disrespectful comments. As to her appointment, Abante said she was approached by the House leadership about it. Asked why the lower chamber needs its own spokesperson, Abante had this to say.
Ayaw talaga natin ng fake news, no? Kaya kailangan mas maging maayos yung mga pagpapaliwanag natin ng mga polisiya na binabalangkas ng Kongreso ngayon.
And speaking of the new House spokesperson, Princess Abante, she did warn about interpreting survey results. She is, of course, referring to the latest findings of Pulse Asia. And that survey showed that the father-daughter tandem of former President Digong and Vice President Sara Duterte getting more trust among Filipinos compared to President Bongbong Marcos. The Pulse Asia poll also showed 50% of respondents against the filing of an impeachment complaint against Vice President Duterte. House Assistant Majority Leader Zia Alonto Adiong was among those who questioned Pulse Asia's methodology. He said that survey firms even got the midterm election results wrong.
It really is, ito bang mga survey results na to really do mirror the perception, public perception, public support, no? Or public clamor, or would it actually a tool to condition the minds of the public? Kasi based on the recent result of the election, nakita natin mukhang hindi yon ang lumabas. And political analysts and pundits were really surprised. No? Ordinary people were surprised na hindi din pala ganun yung mga reflection na lumabas doon sa nakikita natin ng mga results ng survey pagdating doon sa possible na makakapasok na mga magiging panalo or makakapasok sa Magic 12.
One political analyst also weighed in on the dip in President Marcos's trust rating. This is what he had to say.
Rift between the president and the vice president, and it was further exacerbated by a lot of events. There was the impeachment, there was the eventual arrest of the former president. Majority of the people there on the ground will always be rooting for the Duterte. Definitely may hirapan talaga, no? Kahit na sinong politiko right now at this point in time to actually defeat the Dutertes or to put up even a good fight against the Dutertes, especially in Mindanao.
And still at the lower chamber, 4 of 6 Liberal Party members have joined the supermajority coalition backing Speaker Martin Romualdez. That's according to Deputy Speaker J.J. Suarez. Suarez refused to name the opposition lawmakers but said, quote, they are now part of the larger movement for legislative continuity and national stability. At the moment, the supermajority bloc has political parties such as Lakas CMD, Nacionalista, Nationalist People's Coalition, and Partido Federal ng Pilipinas. Liberal Party Acting President Erin Tanyada is downplaying reports of an alliance with a supermajority.
Namin alam no kung sino. That's why sabi namin baka posturing rin yan dahil we all know that there is a ongoing race on who will be the speaker of the House of Representatives in the 20th Congress.
And now let's talk about these developments further. And joining us tonight is House Assistant Majority Leader Zia Alonto Adiong. Good evening and welcome to the Big Story, Congressman.
Good evening, ladies, and it's a pleasure to be guested on our show.
All right. Does House Speaker Martin Romualdez have a hold now on continuing his leadership at the lower house?
Yes, to give you a shorter plus, members of the Congress who are to be members of the 20th Congress, both re-elected and neophytes, have already signified their support for the election or for the retention of Speaker Martin Romualdez as Speaker in the next Congress.
No surprises.
Oh, well, yeah, no surprises because we already have that number. Yes, no, we already have that number prior to the addition of more Congress members who are willing to work with the current leadership of the House.
Will you confirm that these 4 unnamed Liberal Party congressmen are also part of the supermajority?
Once they signify their support and translated that into an actual vote in the plenary, once we open the election, the nomination for the speakership, definitely they will be part of the majority. Yes.
What made Congressman Suarez so confident and announced it, ahead of these 4?
I'm not really sure. I guess he has already spoken with the 4 members, members of the Liberal Party. And I guess he has the trust and maybe he has already asked them the permission. Can he come out with this revelation? And basically to to publicly also announce that in terms of the issue of speakership, the House of Representatives has already settled with the Speaker Martin being the next Speaker of the House in the 20th Congress. Perhaps that's the reason why he came out with this information, with the revelation that there are additional 4 from the Liberal Party who are willing to join the supermajority bloc in the House.
Give us an idea, Congressman Zia, how you're doing it. I know you guys are on break and some people are on vacation. So what's going on now with the lower house? How are you preparing even for the next Congress? Gathering, support for the leadership and for the supermajority? Like, give us an idea of your schedule. May mga events ba? Pumapasok po ba kayo sa Batasan?
But there are actually committees that have already started their committee hearings, to continue with their committee hearings. In fact, 2 weeks ago, Congressman Roman Romulo, also continued with his committee hearing. He chaired the Committee on Education, and also many other committees who are now committee chairmen who are now requesting for the continuation of the hearings that they have left prior to the start of the election. So yes, the legislative work has not it's not really a respite, because even if during the election we are still communicating with our committee members. Like in my case, I took that as an opportunity while I was campaigning in Marawi City to discuss and talk with the CSOs and other stakeholders insofar as the possible amendment to the IRR of the compensation bill. So it's not really a respite. It's actually working 24/7. But right now, we just had a meeting with the members of the Quad and the TRICOM. So probably we will be holding another committee hearing next week, the Quad and the TRICOM.
And now, Congressman, the House of Congress has its own spokesperson. Meron na kayong sariling Attorney Claire. What was behind that decision? It's unusual.
I learned about that, I think yesterday. We were at the House of Representatives. Again, we met with the members of the Quad and the TRICOM, discussing the continuation of our committee hearing, probably next week. And that's the time that I learned about the spokesperson, Attorney Abante. So nagtanong din ako anong background, and I was told that she used to be the spokesperson of the City of Manila when Mayor Lacuna was during her term, okay naman, nakita ko naman yung kanyang unang salvo with the media. She has that confidence and the rapport with the media people in the House, assigned in the House.
And spunk. Most importantly, may spunk. Palaban.
Yes. Yeah, palaban din siya. I saw a video clip during the rally, one of the rallies, and when she spoke about as a response to the Vice President, defending her father. So meron siya. She has that, grit.
Pero kung kahapon nyo lang nalaman and you were actually the assistant majority leader, floor leader, sino po yung pumili sa kanya? Hindi ba siya botohan? Like, how does that go?
Well, prior actually to the ano no to the suspension of our session, there was already a talk, a discussion, a proposal to have a spokesperson for the House, but I wasn't really aware of exactly who. I just learned yesterday na si Attorney Princess Abante nga. So I don't know how I don't know how they try to scout and perhaps pull in possible spokesperson, but definitely the primary criteria is that the person can communicate efficiently to the public what the House are doing, no, in terms of legislation, para ma-relay din sa publiko kung ano yung mga dapat nilang malaman as a matter of in the principle of transparency, of course.
Well, Congressman, let's talk preparations on the impeachment trial of Vice President Sara Duterte. Just taking a look at the results of the senatorial race in the midterm elections, many analysts are saying that the numbers are in the favor of the Vice President. How will that affect the preparations of the prosecution panel? And gaano po ba ka-crucial yung inclusion ni Congressman-elect Chel Diokno, pati ni Laila de Lima?
Well, it's a great addition to the prosecution team because they already have established their reputation, the integrity and the expertise on the subject matter. And so in terms of how they can present the evidences that the prosecution would present, I'm sure they would really, what do you call this? They can really convey efficiently, not only to the senator judges, but even to the public on how the country should really clamor for accountability, the issue really here in the impeachment case is that it should not be looked at who the person is being on trial, or being tried. The issue here is whether or not we allow certain individual public official to be above the law, and not to hold her or him accountable for what she has done and what she is entitled to explain to the public, deserves to be explained. The public deserves to be explained about how a certain funds are being utilized, assigned to her office. So that's exactly what at stake here. Yung the people's right to be informed and the people's right to hold their officers accountable.
May connection ba yung pagkukuha ninyo ng spokesperson or pagtatalaga ng spokesperson sa impeachment trial? Meaning, during the trial, when it starts, can we, syempre kami sa media, interesado kami dyan, siya ba yung hahabulin namin for, updates and all of that?
Oh, well, I'm not really privy as to what would be the role of the spokesperson, whether she will be limited in terms of informing the public as to the legislation that has passed or about to be passed by the House, or whether she would also play as a spokesperson for the impeachment prosecution team. So right now, I presume the reason why she was appointed as a spokesperson is in order to improve the communication line between the House of Representatives and of course to the people. And number two is in order also not to be to be confused with so many other things that that is now going on in terms of politics, in terms of all issues out there, that they will have almost single mouthpiece, that when it comes to certain positions that the House is taking, isa lang ang dapat ang magsasalita. And in order to avoid misinterpretation or misconception, iniiwasan nga, sabi nga ni Spokes, Bante, na para maiwasan yung fake news. Kasi laganap na talaga yung fake news. So deserve naman din ng tao malaman kung ano talaga yung tama at official na position ng House.
So, Congressman, it's all systems go na on June 3. What do we expect on June 3? This is when the Senate is expected to begin preps for the impeachment trial.
Yes. So our prosecution team will go to the Senate and they will present the evidences, and those are the administrative just as regular procedures. They have to take into consideration and have to play on, and also have to that's actually what we expect. Primarily, this is just the initial stage. The Senate will be requiring the prosecution team to submit their evidences, their testimony. And maybe likewise, the defense would also be required to submit their own counter, evidences that they may have.
Are you prepared for a scenario where there will be a possible dismissal of the charges? There have been some who have raised that possibility, because why bother convening on June 3 when the Congress is about to end and a new Congress will come in?
Well, I don't see any way that the verified complaints would be dismissed. It's only the Senate acting as an impeachment court that has the capacity and the mandate to either acquit or convict the one that is being tried. In this case, the vice president. So it's very clear in the Constitution. Once the House has passed and impeaches a certain official, naka-enumerate naman yung mga officials na impeachable. And then it would automatically transmit to the Senate. The Senate would convene as an impeachment court, and the ball is already in their hands. So it's either acquit or convict lang naman talaga. So I don't see any way to drop that, because it's not really passed on to the regular courts. This is the impeachment court, which is quasi judicial and legal and political in nature. Which is, by the way, only the Senate has the mandate and the obligation to do so, and without any institution for that matter. So sabi ng Constitution, ang Senate lang ang mag-try.
Okay. Kaabyo lang tayo konti, Kong Zia, no? Kasi nabanggit nyo nga na medyo hindi kayo masyadong napaniwala, no, dun sa results nung nung polls or nung surveys before the midterm elections. Now na nakita natin, no, yung latest result na nilabas ng Pulse Asia, this was taken May 6 to 9, so before the elections. Bukod dun sa trust rating, meron din about impeachment, where mga 50% of the respondents said they're not in favor. What are your thoughts on the survey process? Do you buy into the results?
Well, to me, if you talk about public perception, it actually changes. Remember, a couple of months ago, prior to, before the election, actually, before the campaign period, I guess last year, and there was actually not overwhelming, but majority of support coming from the people. The same survey firms are saying that the people also wants to know exactly what happened to the confidential funds, and their support the impeachment process, because that's the only way that they can finally learn kung ano ba talaga yung nangyari doon sa confidential funds. We're talking about one impeachment complaint pa, no, in the confidential funds. Number two is that if you talk about the result of the survey just the recent election concluded, no, ang dami kasing hindi pa siya talaga nakapasok yung according to the consistently na sinasabi nilang these are the candidates who are within the winning circle. Meaning, Bam Aquino ay medyo malayo na manalo. Kiko Pangilinan, medyo malayo manalo. Marcoleta, medyo malayo manalo. But when the election came and the result started to come in, all of us were surprised. So hindi pala talaga accurate, no, in terms of saying that the surveys is actually the expression, or it can mirror what would be the probable result in the coming election. So in the same manner, are they using the same methodology? Because if that's what they're saying, that 50% is against the impeachment proceedings, it can be used the same reason, the DIMSA justification, which I just told you right now, kung matama ba yung methodology nila. No? Number two, kasi the result of their survey results actually did not mirror the exact result of their winning candidates for senators. That's number one. Number two, our concern right now is that we should not allow and we should not be bothered by survey results from doing what we are mandated to do by the Constitution. So
Correct.
we should not take the impeachment trial at the backseat simply because a lot of people or substantial number of people are saying, no, we are not agree to that. So ganun lang yun eh. It's actually the same thing that we are saying over and over again. We should not deter by the public perception and then drop whatever is the constitution. So ganun lang yung yeah.
Okay.
We will have to end it there. We thank you so much for your time. House Assistant Majority Leader Zia Alonto Adyong.
Thank you very much for having me.
Now, shifting gears to another story, the Department of Justice is now investigating information that Attorney Harry Roque has 2 or 3 passports under his name. According to Justice Secretary Boying Remulla, they learned this as they're processing the cancellation of Roque's passport at the Angeles City Regional Trial Court. This same court issued the arrest warrant against the former presidential spokesperson, Lucky South 99 associate Cassandra Ong, and 49 others on qualified human trafficking charges. Remulla says it's possible that Roque just tweaked details in his name, such as his middle initial or spelling. This was why Roque wasn't flagged in the airport despite the lookout bulletin order against him. On top of this, the DOJ is also investigating if Roque has a foreign passport.
Papahalukay namin yan. Kasi hindi dapat ginagawa yan. So we are petitioning for the cancellation of his passport or passports. Kasi nga, fugitive from the law na siya. Hindi angkop ang asylum sapagkat ang human trafficking ay isang kasalanan na alam ng Europa na against our interest and against universal interest.
Roque, for his part, called Remulla's statements fake news. Roque said, quote, "For the record, I am currently using one regular passport because the other regular one, or still a current, has no more blank pages. The Department of Foreign Affairs would certainly know that the previous current one is canceled without prejudice." Roque also clarified that his regular passport is now with Dutch authorities as part of his asylum application and that he is no longer using a diplomatic passport since he left government several years ago. Now, on the part of the CIDG, Major General Nicolas Torre III said their request with Interpol for a red notice against Roque is under evaluation.
We are very confident naman dahil sa mga ganyan, napakasimpleng process lang yan. Because there's no question naman na meron ng valid warrant from a Philippine court at ang kaso ito ay kaso rin naman sa iba-ibang mga bansa. Hindi siya pinipersecute ng bansa natin, kundi siya ay hinahabol sa kanyang mga ginawa na may mga complainant.
We're going to pause for a very quick break, but when we return, an uninvited guest in Atin Ito's voyage. Chinese Coast Guard ships tried to stop the civilian mission right in the Philippines' exclusive economic zone. We have that story and more when the big story returns. Stay with us.
Welcome back to the big story. The Atin Ito mission to hold a concert for peace on Pag-asa Island is well underway. But as expected, China has sent its ships to shadow and challenge the civilian voyage. News 5 Gio Robles with the details.
As expected by Atin Ito, Chinese Coast Guard ships shadowed and challenged the coalition civilian mission to the West Philippine Sea. CCG vessels with bow numbers 3306 and 21549 tailed the TS Capitan Felix Oca as it sailed towards Pag-asa Island. The Felix Oca, however, was not alone. Escorting the civilian ship were the BRP Melchora Aquino and BRP Malapascua of the Philippine Coast Guard. The ships issued radio challenges to the Chinese vessels.
You're advised that you are currently sailing within the Philippine Exclusive Economic Zone.
This is not the first time Chinese ships tried to intimidate or block Atin Ito's mission. Back in 2023, Atin Ito conducted its first supply mission when one of its boats successfully evaded Chinese vessels and reached Lawak Island on December 11. In May 2024, the coalition carried out its second civilian mission in the general vicinity of Bajo de Masinloc. The team breached China's blockade and managed to deliver fuel and supplies to Filipino fishers in the area. For this mission, Atin Ito targets to reach Pag-asa Island's territorial waters and hold a concert there.
Binabantayan natin kung ano yung ginagawa nila. So far naman, shadowing pa lang.
Pagka nagkaroon na ng sign ng mga dangerous maneuvering, dangerous maneuvering sila, that's the time na ako na tayo, na abort the mission ako.
On Tuesday, the Philippine Navy vowed full support to the mission as needed. Spokesperson for WPS Rear Admiral Roy Vincent Trinidad said that contingencies are now in place. Before leaving Palawan, Atin Ito held a send-off concert at El Nido. Local and international artists who joined the mission gave a glimpse of their upcoming concert.
This kind of event, mas nagiging makabuluhan yung ginagawa ko as a singer, as a performer.
For News 5, Gio Robles, we are One News.
Over in Malaysia, disputes in the South China Sea were also front and center at the ASEAN summit. President Bongbong Marcos attended a series of high-level meetings where the importance of freedom of navigation and the SCS was discussed. Marcos also sought support for the Philippines' UN Security Council bid for 2027-2028. He encouraged Gulf nations to fund climate efforts. The president also backed the creation of unified halal certification regimes for MSMEs to ensure better protection for 2.7 million Filipinos in the region. He likewise raised concerns over the rising deaths in Gaza.
Philippines calls upon all parties to adhere to their obligations under international law, with particular emphasis on the protection of civilians, especially women and children, and the facilitation of humanitarian assistance to all those who are in need.
The city, known for its breathtaking lanterns, has put a patriotic twist on the traditional parol. Our big picture tonight, flag-themed lanterns along Jose Abad Santos Avenue in San Fernando, Pampanga. These photos were captured by photographer Walter Bolliosos of the Philippine Star. These lanterns were designed by local artist Arvin Kiwa and were installed on Monday, ahead of the National Flag Day celebration tomorrow, May 28.
Nice.
So tomorrow,
And
pala,
until
National...
June 12, pwede na paabutin until Independence Day.
Galit na si Marie. That's it for the show on this Tuesday evening. So tomorrow, National Flag Day.
We should wear flag colors.
Okay, we're almost there.
We are One News, all sides, all the time.
Okay. Oh, thank you for watching.
Yeah.
Have a good night.
Coming up next is Play-by-Play with Andre Felix and Cheska Leton Calao. Andre,
Kita mo naman, Marie, masyadong natakot. Sabi mo, no banter, kahit extra, ayaw na. Ganon ka, si Marie.
Ganun kami ka-obedient.
Floor director.
Hindi, iniisip ko na yung flag.
Color.
Sabi ni Ces, nagamit ko na yung yellow.
Either red or blue na lang.
Red or blue na lang. Pwede. Bukas. Kasama ba kami dyan? Mag-coordinate kami.
Sige, challenge. Game?
Okay, game.
Sige.
Anong kulay?
Anong kulay daw?
Kailangan
Flag.
sa'yo
Pero
red.
dalawa lang kayo.
Kailangan sa'yo red.
Red na blazer?
Bahala ka, basta red. I'm choosing red for you.
Tinanong ko pa kasi. Sige, pag-isipan natin yan. Thank you so much again to the ladies of the Big Story, to Seth, to Sean, and to Pauline. Tonight, we've got the Oklahoma City Thunder moving to the brink of advancing to the NBA Finals. Plus, trade alert in the PBA as the Magnolia Hotshots and the Northport Batang Pierre swap stars.
And we catch up with members of the NU Lady Bulldogs as they prepare for a new era after winning the UAAP Season 87 Women's Volleyball Championship.
Puro matatangkad guest natin ngayon.
Oo
Check,
nga
puro
eh,
middle
teka
block.